Hey guys, welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to be doing some quick movie reviews for you guys. There's about 5 films that I have watched in this past week and a half, and I thought hey, I could just do separate videos, separate reviews for each, but I said, fuck it, let's just do a quick movie reviews. I don't actually have a lot to say about really any of them, whether it was positive or negative. Some of these movies are just plain bad, or some of them are just generic, or some of them are just good, but just don't have a lot to say. So let's get to it. Let's start with the very first movie, The Creator, written and directed by Gareth Edwards, starring John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe, and newcomer Madeline Yuna Volis, and Allison Janney is a pretty cool soldier. So what do I think of The Creator?
Pretty good. Pretty dang good, lads!
Yes, this movie is not the most original movie, even though it's not based off of a source material, so technically it is an original story, but it's a lot like other movies. It's like Terminator, it's like The Last of Us, it's like The Road, it's like a few movies we've seen, District 9. It almost feels like a movie that was directed by Neil Blomkamp, which is not always a good thing because I'm not a big fan of Neil Blomkamp, but this movie was very good. I really enjoyed The Creator. I thought John David Washington as the lead character Joshua was a really great character. I thought Gemma Chan was very good. And this new actress who plays Alfie, very good. And the fact that this is like a first role for her, huge stand up for her. I think we're seeing a star on the rise. But Gareth Edwards, the direction is really good. For an $80 million movie, it looks very good. Visually, it's fantastic. The action is really good, even though you can tell, I think this movie was an R-rated movie. There's a lot of brutal, bloody scenes, but they're like kind of chopped up, like to look like it was PG-13. It was edited down to make it look like it was PG-13. It just really feels that way. I can tell there's a lot of scenes where they're trying to swear and they can't say like the big F bombs or the C bombs and stuff. There's even a scene where a robot's like, "You can have intercourse with yourself," and I'm like, I feel like I know what that robot was trying to say. I feel like they're just trying to condense it down to a PG-13 to get more seats in the theaters, which I get, it's a marketing thing, but I could just tell. I feel like this was supposed to be an R rating. I think it could have been a lot better with an R rating. Um, but yeah, the movie was solid. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes, very well paced, and it's a big story to tell, and a lot of world building, and they do it all really good. And there is just some flaws. It's like a flawed yet really cool movie. There's just things that happen in the story that don't make sense with the character Maya and how this character believes she's alive, and clearly she's okay. I'm spoiling things. I'm sorry. There's just things, the decisions these characters make that just don't make any sense, and they're supposed to be intelligent characters. Um, Especially in the third act, there's some things I'm like, wait, what? Like, if he does, wait, what? I don't know. But there's some cool talk about what it means to be human, which, again, conversations I've seen in films like Ox Machina and Terminator and stuff, but it's still cool. Alfie and Joshua are really great characters, and they work off each other. They're no Joel and Ellie, but they're still really fun and enjoyable to watch, and the action's still really good. And it's just an entertaining sci-fi action film. And I think Gareth Edwards is a good director. It's a very well structured film, yet flawed, but still well structured. And I enjoyed it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Definitely check it out. Next is the movie Dumb Money, directed by Craig Gillespie. Is that his name? Craig Gillespie, the guy who did I, Tonya and Fright Night and stuff. Mr. Woodcock. This movie has a stacked cast, like Paul Dano, Shailene Woodley, Seth Rogen, Pete Davidson, America Ferrera, Dane DeHaan, Sebastian Stan, Vincent D'Onofrio, Nick Offerman. Stacked cast. Yeah, how was it? Meh. I don't know, a story about the GameStop, Wall Street, people making money. It's very much, almost a lot like The Big Short, which was an okay movie. It's pretty good. Adam McKay. There's a lot of inspiration from The Big Short in this movie. And it's not as humorous as The Big Short or as well edited as The Big Short. This movie tries to be a dark comedy, but it's not very funny. And it has so many characters. Like, the cast is stacked, but that's the point. It's so stacked that I don't give a flying rat's shit about any of these fucking characters. I don't care. There's so many characters in this movie, and I forgot what their names were half the time, and what their motivations were, and what they were even doing. And I was so like, wait, what? Like, I know Paul Dano is like the central focus of the movie, and he's really good. He is the standout in the movie, but there's just so many characters they just like shovel into this movie, and it's really hard to follow some of their stories, or hard to follow why I should care and stuff. And I felt like it was so jumbled, this movie. And honestly, like, the GameStop thing, I really didn't pay attention to that when it was happening, when it was on the news. So watching a movie about it, I also really didn't care. I just didn't care about the story. And I don't know, this movie just didn't hit it for me. Like, I know a lot of people enjoyed it, which is cool. Definitely it wasn't for me, though. I'm going to give Dumb Money a 6 out of 10. Good stuff in it. There's some decent acting, but it's not very funny, and it's not my kind of thing. Didn't interest me. Speaking of didn't interest me, The Nun 2. I was so not ever going to watch this movie, but I was bored, and I'm like, why not?
You suck!
It's really good that I did quick movie reviews on The Nun 2, because there's nothing to say other than it's a piece of shit. It's a fucking terrible movie. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this movie. The first Nun movie was terrible, and for some reason they managed to make it even worse. I don't know why these Conjuring movies are still going, but they need to stop. Like, I've almost got like no memory now of a good Conjuring movie, because Conjuring 2 was so long ago. This movie was terrible, cheap scares, bad visual effects, horrible ending, really one-dimensional characters, and the music was obnoxious, and just nothing about this movie worked. And it's not even a fun horror movie. It's not even it's so bad it's good. It's just bad to the bone. The Nun 2 is a 2 out of 10. Sucks ass. Now, let's talk about Saw X. Huh.
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, Saw X is almost, they call it like a soft reboot, but it really isn't. It's like between the first and second Saw movie. Jigsaw slash John Kramer is back doing his traps, taking Amanda under his wing and stuff. And I was not gonna go watch this movie. I was gonna treat this like Spiral. The Spiral is a movie I didn't like and I didn't want to see in theaters, and I watched it like months later when it was on streaming. And I'm like, I'll do the same with this one. But critics were saying this is the best Saw movie. And I'm like, not really saying much, because there's not really any good Saw movies. I've always given the Saw films like a chance. I was actually a fan of the Saw films when I was in high school. I liked the first like 3 films, and I saw those in theaters. Thought they were really cool and creative, but they were just torture porn. And I don't like torture porn movies. That's why I don't like Eli Roth films and stuff. I don't even like the Friday the 13th franchise. Like, I don't know, just torture porn, just violent gore just doesn't do it for me. It's not like, I'm not a huge horror guy. I like horror movies that rely on atmosphere and just good pacing. And, like, I prefer like a good ghost story than like a murder guy. I don't know. But this movie is John Kramer, and it's about his story. It's about him getting diagnosed with cancer and how the doctors are taking advantage of him. Believe it or not, this movie makes me care about John Kramer. That's incredible. It's probably the best compliment I can ever give a Saw film, because I never gave 2 flying shits about John Kramer. And the fact that he always like, oh, I've never killed anyone. Oh, the reason I do this. I thought his reasonings were so stupid. And I'm like, you're a murderer. You're just using all that shit as an excuse. But he was actually really, like, I was rooting for him, and I didn't care that he was doing these horrible things to these horrible people. And I'm like, man, they should have just made all the Saw movies about this. It was shocking. And even Amanda Young, I never liked Amanda in these movies. I never liked her character, but she was even interesting. And how she kind of goes down that really fucking dark path of hers. And they focused on characters in this movie, which is not something a Saw movie ever does. The traps are there, the torture porn is there, but they focus a lot on John Kramer and his cancer and these doctors fucking him over and his apprentice. He's trying to be an apprentice to Amanda, and they talk about conversations about the world and the darkness in people. There's actually conversations in this movie, and there's actually good dialogue, and there's meaning to it in a Saw movie. And the 10th Saw movie, I'm like, what is this movie? It's like, I'm shocked with what I'm watching here. I was blown away. Is it a good movie? I wouldn't go that far, but it's the best Saw movie ever made. Take that what you will, because there's not really any good Saw movies, but I thought Tobin Bell was great. Shawnee Smith was great. Some of the fucking scenes were brutal and legit creepy. I never thought the Saw movies were scary, because they're not. It's just disgusting. They were just nasty films. There was genuine creepy moments in this movie. I will actually recommend it. I'm fucking shocked. There's a lot of dumb things in this movie, annoying characters, and again, mindless torture porn, but check it out. 7 out of 10. Best rating I'll ever get to a Saw movie. Alright, lastly, I want to talk about this one because I finally got to check it out, and it took so long because this movie came out months and months ago, but it was Past Lives. Past Lives. Wow. Past Lives. Man, this movie, I don't know why I missed this movie.
It's about time.
So this movie is about two characters named Nora and Hansing, and they are two people that were connected as kids, and they always had this like a relationship with each other, and they always thought they were meant to be together. But they get separated, and then decades passed, and then they meet up, and they're not in like South Korea anymore. They meet up, but they have, different relationships, and they meet up as adults, and they try to, catch up with each other, and they try to think about maybe they were meant to be together, even though they're both going to be married and end up with different people in their lives. Should they rekindle this relationship, or should they just move on with their lives and just let the past be the past? It's a really deep movie. And very emotional, and a very, very well acted movie. I don't know any of these actors, sadly. I think one of them was Greta Lee, I think her name was. I'm trying to remember the end credits. She was solid. I think everyone was solid. The writing was really good. The ending really left me thinking, and there's some very deep and meaningful conversations. The characters feel real, fleshed out. I feel like you would get to know these characters and understand these characters. And it's an A24 film, which is definitely a studio that's a hit and miss for me, but I thought this was solid. Really solid movie. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. Not perfect, but still enjoyed it. 9 out of 10 for Past Lives. So yeah, that was my 5 quick movie reviews for some movies. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. Join the dark side.